1, 2 test.
It sounds like you're getting everything set up. Just let me know when you're ready to proceed, and we can continue with the next steps.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of crazy.
It sounds exciting. Whenever you're ready, we'll move forward with connecting your Google Sheets account and continuing with the setup.
All right.
Just let me know when to proceed.
Let's go. Let's try it. All right, I am ready. Google Sheets is in the next thing that we talked about. So we want to hit continue, right?
Yes, that's correct. Step 5, connect your Google Sheets account. 1, click continue. 2, you will be prompted to connect your Google Sheets account. Click on Sign in to Google Sheets. 3, select your Google account and grant Zapier the necessary permissions to access your Google Sheets. 4, once connected, click Continue. Let me know once you've connected your Google Sheets account, and we'll move on to the next step of setting up the trigger options.
Okay, we have it set up. So now it's looking for our choose value.
Great. Step 6, set up trigger options. 1, choose account. Make sure your connected Google Sheets account is selected. 2, customize spreadsheet row. Spreadsheet. Select the spreadsheet you want to use for logging tasks and interactions. Worksheet. Select the specific worksheet within that spreadsheet. Once you've selected the appropriate spreadsheet and worksheet, click Continue. Let me know once you've done this, and we'll move on to testing the trigger.
So we need to set up the spreadsheet then, because right now I don't have a spreadsheet set up for this because you didn't tell me to.
No problem. Let's quickly set up the spreadsheet. Step 6.1, set up the spreadsheet. 1, open Google Sheets. Go to Google Sheets. Please open your app to see this link and create a new spreadsheet. 2, name the spreadsheet. Give it a descriptive name like GPT task log. 3, create columns. Set up the columns you'll need for logging tasks and interactions. For example, you might use date, task description, status, notes. Once you've created the spreadsheet and added the necessary columns, let me know and we'll return to Zapier to complete the setup.
Okay, pretend I don't know how to use Google Sheets. Give me a step-by-step on what we're going to put here. That's going to be the best use for the GPT to handle this.
Absolutely. Let's walk through it step by step. Step 1, create a new Google Sheet. 1, open your web browser and go to Google Sheets. Please open your app to see this link. 2, click on blank to create a new spreadsheet. Step 2, name the spreadsheet. At the top left, click on the default name, usually untitled spreadsheet.
There, we
2,
named the
rename it to
GPT
something
the chat
descriptive
log.
like GPT task log.
Oh, task
Step
log.
3, set up columns. The first row, create the following column headers. Column A, date. Column B, task description. Column C, status. Column D, notes. Here's how you do it. 1, click on cell A1 and type date. Click on cell B1 and type task description. 3, click on cell C1 and type status. 4, click on cell D1 and type notes. Step 4, format columns. 1, you can format the columns to make them more user-friendly. Date.
You're going a little too fast. Please go slower because I don't type that fast. So we're at date for column A1. I'm at task description for B1. What's next?
Got it, I'll slow down. Column header setup 1. Column A1, type date. 2, column B1, type task description. 3, column type status. 4, column D1, type notes. Once you've typed notes into D1, let me know, and we'll proceed with any additional formatting steps or move on to the next step in Zapier.
Okay, I have up to notes in D1.
Perfect. Optional formatting. You can skip this if you want to keep it simple. 1, date column formatting. Click on the letter A at the top of the column to select the entire column. Go to the menu and click Format, Number, Date to format the column as dates. 2, status column dropdown. Click on the letter C at the top of the column to select the entire column.
Okay, again, you're going too fast. So we need to take this one step at a time. So I've highlighted the column for A, and then you mentioned format, and then you said something like date or something, but I don't see that option. So let's chill out, go slow, step by step on this formatting part.
Understood. Let's take it step by step. Formatting the date column, column A. 1. Select column A. Click on the letter A at the top of the column to select the entire column. 2. Open the Format menu. At the top of the page, find and click on the Format menu. 3. Choose Number. In the drop-down menu that appears, hover over Number to see more options. 4. Select Date. From the expanded menu, click on Date. This will format the entire column A to display dates. Let me know once you've done this, and we'll proceed to the next step.
I've done it, and we are ready to proceed to the next step.
Great. Now let's move on to setting up the drop-down list for the status column. Creating a drop-down list in the status column, column C. 1. Select column C. Click on the letter C at the top of the column to select the entire column. 2. Open the data menu. At the top of the page, click on the data menu. 3. Select data validation. In the drop-down menu, click on data validation. 4. Set up criteria. In the data validation window that appears, under criteria, select list of items from the drop-down menu. In the box that appears below, type pending, in progress, completed without spaces. 5. Save the data validation. Click Save at the bottom of the data validation window. This will create a drop-down list in the status column, allowing you to easily select the status for each task. Once you've done this, let me know, and we'll proceed back to Zapier to complete the trigger setup.
Repeat that process again, please. I'm up to data validation rules.
Of course, let's repeat the process for setting up the drop-down list. 1. Select column C. Click on the letter C at the top of the column to select the entire column. 2. Open the data menu. At the top of the page, click on the data menu. 3. Select data validation. In the drop-down menu, click on data validation. 4. Set up criteria. In the data validation window that appears, under criteria, select list of items from the drop-down menu. In the box that appears below, type pending, in progress, completed, separated by commas without spaces. 5. Save the data validation. Click Save at the bottom of the data validation window. This will create a drop-down list in the status column, allowing you to easily select the status for each task. Once you've done this, let me know, and we'll proceed back to Zapier to complete the trigger setup.
I don't see the option for the drop-down under criteria for the list that you mentioned. What exactly am I looking for then?
Let's go through this more slowly to make sure we find the right option. 1. Select column C. Click on the letter C at the top of the column to select the entire column. 2. Open the data menu. At the top of the page, click on the data menu. 3. Select data validation. In the drop-down menu, click on data validation. Now in the data validation window, 4. Criteria section. Under criteria, you should see a drop-down menu. From this drop-down menu, select list of items. If you don't see list of items right away, it might be under a slightly different label or in a submenu, depending on updates or your specific Google Sheets interface. Sometimes it appears as list from a range, but you should be looking for list of items. Once you select list of items, 5, enter items. In the box that appears below, list of items, type pending, in progress, completed, separated by commas without spaces. 6, save the data validation. Click Save at the bottom of the data validation window. Let me know if this helps you find the correct option or describe what options you do see, and I'll guide you further.
Okay, so none of those options are available. We have drop down from a range, text contains, text does not contain, text is exactly, text is valid email, text is valid URL, is valid date, date is before, date is on or before, date is after, date is on or after, date is between, date is not between, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, is not equal to, is between, is not between, checkbox, custom formula, and none.
Thank you for clarifying. It looks like the option we need might be under a different label. Let's try this. 1. Select column C. Click on the letter C at the top of the column to select the entire column. 2. Open the data menu. At the top of the page, click on the data menu. 3. Select data validation. In the drop-down menu, click on data validation. In the data validation window, 4. Criteria section. From the drop-down menu under criteria, select drop-down. 5. Set up the drop-down list. Once you select drop-down, You should see options to add items. In the fields provided, type pending, in progress, and completed, each in a separate item field. 6. Save the data validation. Click Done or Save at the bottom of the data validation window. This should create a drop-down list in the status column. Let me know if this works, or if the interface is still different, and I'll guide you further.
I found it and it is working. Can you repeat the steps that I have, or the text I have to tap into each one? But first, give me the amount that I have to add so that I can quickly type in.
Great, I'm glad you found it. Here are the steps and the text you need to enter. 1. Select column C. Click on the letter C at the top of the column to select the entire column. 2. Open the data menu. At the top of the page, click on the data menu. 3. Select data validation. In the drop-down menu, click on data validation. 4. Criteria section. From the drop-down menu under criteria, select drop-down. 5. Set up the drop-down list. You need to add 3 items: pending, in progress, completed. 6. Save the data validation. Click Done or Save at the bottom of the data validation window. Once you've entered these 3 items and saved the validation, your status column will have a drop-down list with these options. Let me know once this is done, and we'll proceed to the next step.
Doesn't seem like you could put spaces in these particular items.
I see. In that case, we can use alternatives without spaces. Here's the updated list. 1. Select column C. Click on the letter C at the top of the column to select the entire column. 2. Open the data menu. At the top of the page, click on the data menu. 3. Select data validation. In the drop-down menu, click on data validation. 4. Criteria section. From the drop-down menu under criteria, select drop-down. 5. Set up the drop-down list. You need to add 3 items: pending, in progress, completed. 6. Save the data validation. Click Done or Save at the bottom of the data validation window. This should work without spaces. Once you've entered these items and saved the validation, let me know so we can move back to Zapier.
All set.
Great. Now, let's return to Zapier to complete the setup. Step 7. Set up trigger options in Zapier. 1. Choose account. Make sure your connected Google Sheets account is selected. 2. Customize spreadsheet row. Spreadsheet. Select the spreadsheet you just created. GPT task log. Worksheet. Select the specific worksheet within that spreadsheet, usually named Sheet 1 unless you renamed it. 3. Click Continue. Let me know once you've done this, and we'll proceed to testing the trigger.
Okay, I have the option to pick spreadsheet, which I picked GPT task log. Now it's asking for a worksheet.
Perfect. For the worksheet, 1. Select the worksheet. In the drop-down menu for worksheet, select the worksheet you created. If you didn't rename it, it's likely called Sheet 1. Once you've selected the worksheet, click Continue. Let me know when you've done that, and we'll move on to testing the trigger.
Do we have to fill anything into trigger column?
No, you don't need to fill anything into the trigger column for our setup, since we're triggering on any new or updated row. So you can leave the trigger column field blank and proceed by clicking Continue. Once you've done that, let me know, and we'll move on to testing the trigger.
Okay, we're ready to test the trigger.
Great. Step 8, test the trigger. 1. Click on Test Trigger to make sure Zapier can pull in data from your Google Sheet. 2. Zapier will look for a recent row of data in the selected spreadsheet and worksheet. If you haven't added any data yet, go to your Google Sheet and add a sample row of data, e.g. today's date, a sample task description, pending, and a note. After adding a sample row, return to Zapier and run the test again. Let me know the results of the test. If it successfully pulls in data, we can move on to setting up the action.
What should we put as a sample task description?
You can put anything as a sample task description, but here's a simple example. 1. Date. Enter today's date. 2. Task description. Enter sample task description. 3. Status select pending from the drop-down. 4 notes. Enter this is a sample task for testing. Once you've added this sample row to your Google Sheet, return to Zapier and click Test Trigger again. Let me know the result of the test.
Should we open up the spreadsheet a little bit to allow for more room? So like making the columns bigger?
Yes, adjusting the column widths can make it easier to view and manage the data. Here's how you can do that. 1. Adjust column widths. Hover your cursor over the line between the column letters, e.g. between A and B, until you see a double-headed arrow. Click and drag the line to the right to widen the column. Repeat this for columns B, C, and D to give each column more room. After adjusting the column widths, enter the sample data. 1. Date. Enter today's date in column A. 2. Task description. Enter sample task description in column B. 3. Status. Select pending from the drop-down in column C. 4. Notes. Enter this is a sample task for testing in column D. Once you've done that, return to Zapier and click Test Trigger to ensure it pulls in the sample data correctly. Let me know the result of the test.
Okay, so the test went through. We have row ID 2, row number 2, date 6/5/2024, task description, I put anything, status is pending, and then a content hash with a number.
Excellent. The test was successful. And Zapier can pull data from your Google Sheet. Now let's set up the action part of the Zap, which will involve interacting with your custom GPT. Step 9, set up the action. 1. Click.
Before we do that, should I hit continue with selected record?
Yes, you should click continue with selected record. This will use the test data you just pulled in to set up the action step. Once you've done that, you can proceed with the steps to add the action as I described earlier. Let me know if you need any additional help or details.
Yeah, repeat how to set the action.
Sure, let's go through setting up the action step by step. Step 9, set up the action. 1. Click on Add a Step or the plus button to add an action to your Zap. 2. Choose an app. In the search bar, type Webhooks by Zapier and select it. Choose Action Event. Select Custom Request. Click Continue. 4. Set up action method. Select Post. URL. Enter the endpoint URL for your GPT model. If you're using OpenAI, it might be something like h/api.com v1 completions. Headers. Add a header with key authorization. Value your OpenAI.
You're going too fast again. Slow down. Step by step, please. We ran into a problem. I don't have a premium account, and Webhooks by Zapier is a premium. So give me a second to pay for the premium, and then we'll move forward from there.
Sure, no problem. Take your time to upgrade your Zapier account to premium. Once you have the premium account set up, let me know, and we'll continue with the step-by-step process to set up the action using Webhooks by Zapier.
Which plan should I do? Is professional premium?
Yes, the professional plan on Zapier includes access to premium features, such as Webhooks by Zapier. You can go ahead and choose the professional plan. Once you've upgraded, let me know, and we'll continue with the setup.
How many tasks per month do you think we're going to use?
The number of tasks per month can vary based on the complexity and frequency of your operations. Here's a rough estimate based on typical business needs. 1. Daily logging and interactions. If the GPT logs tasks and interactions daily, and you have multiple interactions per day, you might use around 100 to 200 tasks per month. 2. Automation of routine tasks. Automating tasks like sending emails, updating records, or other routine processes can add up quickly, potentially using another 100 to 200 tasks per month. 3. Scalability. As your business grows, The number of tasks may increase proportionally. A good starting point might be the professional plan with 2,000 tasks per month, which provides a decent buffer for your needs. You can always upgrade if you find that you need more tasks as your operations expand. Once you've upgraded, let me know, and we'll proceed with the next steps.
So it seems that there's an upgrade for basic, premium, and advanced.
For using webhooks by Zapier and other premium features, you'll need at least the premium plan. Here's what you should do. 1. Select the premium plan. This will give you access to the webhooks by Zapier feature and enough tasks for moderate usage. Once you've upgraded to the premium plan, let me know, and we'll continue with the step-by-step setup.
I don't really want to use the premium plan.
Understood. If you prefer not to upgrade to a premium plan, we can explore.
Are you okay? You seem to have crashed.
I apologize if my responses seemed off. Let's refocus. Since upgrading isn't preferable, let's explore alternatives. Using Google Apps Script to interact with your GPT and
No, we'll just pay for it. It's okay.
got it. Once you've upgraded to the premium plan and have access to webhooks by Zapier, let me know and we'll continue with setting up the action in Zapier.
Okay. I see it says premium, but I don't know if I really need premium. We'll see.
All right, let's continue with the steps and see if it works without needing the premium plan. Step 9, set up the action retry. Click on Add a Step or the plus button to add an action to your Zap. 2. Choose an app. In the search bar, type Webhooks by Zapier and select it. 3. Choose Action Event. Select Custom Request. Click Continue. If this part prompts you for a premium upgrade, we can consider alternatives again. If it allows you to proceed, 4. Set up action method, select Post. URL, enter the endpoint URL for your GPT model. If you're using OpenAI, it might be something like http://openai.com/v1's completions. Headers, add a header with key authorization.
You're going too fast again. Step by step, because I still have to put the URL in and I don't know what the URL is.
I apologize for that. Let's slow down and go step by step. Step 9, set up the action. Click on Add a Step or the plus button to add an action to your Zap. 2. Choose an app. In the search bar, type Webhooks by Zapier and select it. 3. Choose Action Event, select Custom Request. Click Continue. Setting up the Custom Request action, one method. Select Post. 2. Enter the endpoint URL for your GPT model. If you're using OpenAI, the URL should be http://openai.com/completions. Next, we'll set up the headers. 3 headers. Click.
You're going too fast again. I don't have the URL. So let me find the URL. Okay, I entered the URL. What's next?
Great. Now let's add the headers. Adding headers 1. First header, click Add Custom Header. Key authorization, value, bear your OpenAI API key.
It doesn't have that. It has data pass through. Question mark.
Got it? Let's make sure we're on the right track. If you don't see the Add Custom Header option, it might be the layout is different. Let's adapt. Setting up headers and data. 1. Data pass-through. You should see a section labeled Data or Request Body where you can input the JSON data. 2. Enter the JSON data. In the Data or Request Body section, enter the following JSON data. You can see the code in our conversation history. Use the Insert Data button, usually a plus icon, next to the data fields to select the appropriate values from your Google Sheets for task description, status.
So it doesn't have that option. What it does have is search false and true for the data pass through.
It sounds like we're in a slightly different interface. Let's proceed with the available options. 1 method, select post. 2, URL. Enter the endpoint URL openai.com/completions. 3, headers. Since we don't have a direct option for headers, let's proceed with the options we have. 4, data pass-through. Set data pass-through to false. This should allow you to manually input the data. Enter the JSON data. 1, data. In the section where you can enter the request body or data, input the following JSON. You can see the code in our conversation history. Replace the placeholders, task description, status, and notes with the appropriate values from your Google Sheets using the Insert Data button, authorization, and content type. If there's no specific header section, try checking if there's a way to include these in the URL or data section. For authorization, if there's no direct header.
Again, you're going too fast because I'm running into roadblocks. I see false, and then it says data. Should the data be placed in the JSON data be placed in that box? Enter text or insert data. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. Let's take it step by step. 1, set data pass-through to false. Choose false for data pass-through. 2, enter the JSON data. In the box labeled data or enter text or insert data, input the following JSON. You can see the code in our conversation history. 3, insert data from Google Sheets. Use the Insert Data button, usually a plus icon, next to the data fields to select the appropriate values from your Google Sheets for task description, status, and notes. Once you've entered the JSON data and inserted the values from your Google Sheets, let me know, and we'll proceed to the next step.
So it seems like you already put those into the JSON code, or should I change that around? There is exclamation points and highlights for task description, status, and notes.
It sounds like the JSON placeholders are correctly highlighted for you to insert the data. Let's replace those placeholders with the actual data from your Google Sheets. 1, JSON data. In the JSON data you entered, you can see the code in our conversation history. 2, insert data. Click on the Insert Data button, usually a plus icon, next to the data fields. For task description, click the plus icon and select the corresponding value from your Google Sheets. Repeat this process for status and notes. Here's how it might look after inserting the data. You can see the code in our conversation history. Replace the placeholders with the selected values from the drop-down options provided by Zapier. Once you've done this, let me know, and we'll move to the testing step.
This seems to be overly complicated, especially with the JSON code. Is there not an easier way?
I understand it can be a bit complex. Let's simplify this as much as possible. Alternative approach using Zapier's built-in actions. Instead of using webhooks, let's see if we can use another built-in Zapier action that might be easier to set up without dealing directly with JSON. 1, add an action. Click on Add a Step or the plus button to add an action to your Zap. 2, choose an app. In the search bar, type Formatter by Zapier and select it. 3, choose Action Event. Select Text and click Continue. 4,
You're going too fast again. I'm in the action, choose action. Which one should I be using?
You have reached the message cap for GPT-4. Please try again later.
I knew that was going to happen. Oh my gosh.
You have reached the message cap for GPT-4. Please try again later.
Damn, I got to put this aside and start this over.
You have reached the message cap for GPT-4. Please try again later.
Oh, this sucks because I don't know what to do. It's my stupidity. That's why I kept saying, you're going too fast. Let's see what we have here. I'm choosing that. Formatter by Zapier. All right. Text. Transform text. Select text consonate. What? Text consonate. I don't even see that in here. Choose an action event. Select text and click continue. Got it. We go backwards. Text what the fuck? Dude, there's nothing here that even remotely says that. Okay, so we're stopping here. We'll start again tomorrow. Let's see how this works out. It's probably be a while before I can get my chat back because I used up so many tokens. So I have no idea when I can use it again. Let's see. Well, they bumped me to 3.5 till I can get. Oh fuck. Oh shit. All right, we'll come back tomorrow. Oops.